All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are taking a hard look at a villain whose real weapon isn't some superpowered punch, but a terrifyingly sharp philosophy. We're talking about Mongol, the architect of a gilded cage called World, and the sick wager he makes with the soul of any hero who dares to challenge him.
First things first, to really get the thread of this new Mongol, you've got to understand we're not talking about your classic mustache-twirling villain. Oh no, this is a whole different breed of monster.
So on the left, you've got his dad, Mongol Who Was. Pure, clumsy, smash-everything brutality. But on the right, that's our guy, Mongol Who Is. This is all about ideological control. He's this cunning, strategic tyrant who literally studied the history of Warworld to perfect a system of rule that required, and this is a direct quote, no passion. And his domain? Warworld, a mobile planet of gladiators. But it's so much more than that. He's turned it into this enforced utopia. It's a realm that's basically designed to be the ultimate, twisted test of virtue, and of course, a massive prison for the enslaved people known as the Falosians. So, you might be asking, how in the world does he keep control over a whole planet of warriors? Well, it's not just with chains and brute strength. His real power is way, way more insidious than that. Mongol's whole method is just a masterclass in totalitarian rule, and it's all built on psychological warfare. He uses this incredibly sophisticated propaganda to twist what's real, and he even weaponizes the environment itself, blasting his enemies with the mystical fire of Algrun and constant red sun radiation to keep his number one foe, Superman, weak all the time.
And this propaganda, man, it is chillingly effective. It's like something ripped straight out of a history book on real-world tyrants. He indoctrinates his enslaved subjects so completely that they start repeating this horrifying line as if it's their own belief. I mean, just imagine the psychological damage of trying to save people who tell you to your face that their slavery is freedom. But here's the most twisted part of his control. He creates a system that gives his victims this deceptive sliver of hope in enslavement. It's a tiny, fake hope, but it's just enough to keep them psychologically chained down, just enough to stop them from even thinking about a real rebellion.
Now, all this psychological manipulation, it's not just a tactic. It's really just the top layer of a much deeper, darker ideology. This isn't just about controlling a planet. It's about wielding philosophy as a weapon.
Mongol's power actually has a name, stasis. The source material calls it the crushing weight of the spirit of gravity itself. Think of it like this. It's a solidified idea, an ideological force that's designed to stop all change, all progress, and ultimately crush all hope.
And this is where it gets really wild. This whole concept becomes a terrifying reality. See, Mongol isn't just a tyrant who enforces oppressive rules. He is the living, breathing manifestation of those rules. His very existence takes this abstract philosophical idea and turns it into a physical being that you actually have to fight.
And that's exactly why he can just sit there on his throne and wait. Like the text says, his existence was the solidified dogma that dared the flowing spirit to shatter its foundations. He doesn't have to hunt you down. He is the challenge. He's the ultimate thou shalt not, made of flesh and bone, just waiting for you to come and break yourself against him.
The end result of all this stasis is a concept so terrifying they call it spiritual coagulation. Under his rule, the actual life force of his people just gets extinguished. Their spirit turns into red powder, dry, stagnant, and unrelated to the earth. He's not just killing bodies, he's literally annihilating souls.
So all of this psychological torture, this philosophical weapon, it's all building to his ultimate goal. And as you've probably figured out, it has absolutely nothing to do with conquering the galaxy. Which brings us to the big question, right? What is the endgame for a villain who is literally an idea? What does he actually want? And here it is, the Nihilist's gambit. See, Mongol doesn't win by killing the hero. No, that's too simple. He wins through the hero's violation of restraint. His real goal is to corrupt his enemy's soul, to win a philosophical argument on the biggest stage you can imagine. His plan is this diabolical, almost Faustian bargain. Step 1. Lure the hero, the Ubermensch, to Warworld. Step 2. Present him with a complex, horrifying situation with no easy answers. And the whole point? To force that hero to take the easy path of the tyrant, to use absolute enforcement to fix things. If he does that,
he proves Mongol's point, that all our striving for meaning is meaningless.
And so he just waits for that hero, for Superman. Mongol is betting everything that Superman's immense power will make the path of the tyrant not just easy, but totally irresistible. This is his final test. Will the hero become the very monster he came to destroy?
But what happens when this solidified dogma, this supposedly immovable object, comes up against a spirit that is truly unbreakable? Well, it turns out Mongol's brute nihilism was just wrong. And it wasn't just the hero who proved it. It was the collective will of the Phalosians, the very people he thought he had broken. Superman didn't just save them alone. He inspired them to take back their own power, to lead a final successful uprising against their jailer. And that right there is why Mongol's defeat was so absolute. It wasn't just a physical loss. It was a complete philosophical takedown of his entire worldview. The same people whose spirits he tried to grind into dust rose up and shattered his philosophy of stasis, proving that hope isn't some weakness you can exploit. It's a force of nature.
And really, it leaves us with this one powerful thought. In a world full of complex horrors, maybe the ultimate victory isn't about having the power to break your enemy, but having the strength to refuse to become him.